Today on the DML News Podcast, drones, the attack of the drones. The drones are everywhere. What are they? Who knows what they are and what will happen? Also, the media. The media is crumbling. We're going to talk about that after a big, huge New York Times roundtable discovers what we already know. The media sucks. Plus, The View. Bill Clinton reveals that he wants to have a pardon for his wife. We're going to talk a little bit about Gavin Newsom, Zuckerberg, Trump, and immigration. It's a packed show, and it's going to be all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. Across from me is my son, Denny, and on the controls is my other son, Ryan. We are here today, like we hear every single day, to try to give you the truth of what's going on in the world, and especially what's going on in our country. And right now, what's going on in our country is both troubling and, boy, are we about to see some explosive stuff happen between now and the time, January 20, of when Trump is inaugurated. Hopefully we can get there. I'm going to start off right now with the drone issue. For days, my wife has come to me every single day and said, I have real concern about these drones. And I've sort of blown it off. And now it is impossible to blow it off. Although the U.S. government is looking to blow it off. And that is when you know that there's a problem. If there's one thing that I've learned over the 20 years of being in this business, it is that the U.S. government will constantly lie to you. They will lie to me. They will lie to all of us. Now, sometimes it's to cover something up. Other times it's to keep you from going into panic mode. And I think this is one of those cases where both bells get rung. There are drones, some of them 6 feet, some of them the size of an SUV is being described, that are flying all over at different parts of the country. Specifically in New Jersey, where it's being reported that these things are coming out, sometimes 180 of them being seen per night, usually between 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. We have video footage of it being in California. In fact, I don't know if you remember this or not, but if you listen to me every single day, you know it about a month ago, I was just randomly talking here on the show about how my wife and I were sitting in the backyard on our balcony, and all of a sudden I saw this big round circle off into the distance. It wasn't a plane because planes move and usually have blinking lights. It wasn't a helicopter because helicopters not only move, but they bounce up and down, and they too usually have a blinking light. This was a round, almost perfect circle, and it sat idle. And then all of a sudden, it just started to move completely and utterly, softly and perfectly. And then all of a sudden, it disappeared as if it turned its lights off. I wound up emailing and texting the sheriff and asking him if anybody else had reported seeing a drone or something of that nature. And I wound up looking online, and there were people who were reporting seeing the same thing. The sheriff said that nobody called his office. With that said, we're going to start off right here with a report. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, we're going to start off with a report from ABC News. I think it's Good Morning America. Take a look at what's happening in New Jersey.
Good morning to you. After weeks of those sightings, lawmakers in New Jersey expressing concern and, frankly, anger, demanding action. They want to know where these drones are coming from and how they're continuing to fly over sensitive areas, some even suggesting the drones should be shot down.
There's one.
This morning, mounting fears with hundreds of mysterious drone sightings over New Jersey and Pennsylvania, night after night, for weeks.
They're just pacing back and forth, going very slow.
Officials in New Jersey now demanding action from federal authorities, meeting with Homeland Security Wednesday.
It scares the bejesus out of me. You have to tell me, in this day and age, 2024, that somebody can be flying drones over northern New Jersey and we have no clue who it is, where they're coming from, or where they're landing? That's unacceptable.
A New Jersey legislator also in that meeting, posting on X that the drones appear much larger than typical hobby drones, in some cases up to 6 feet. They often fly with their lights off, making them harder to detect. Between 4 to 180 sightings per day, most often between 6 and 11 p.m. The unidentified aircraft spotted in the skies above military installations, neighborhoods, and even President-elect Donald Trump's Bedminster Golf Club.
This is the 12th drone that has come by.
The FBI investigating, but still few answers.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy.
The Pentagon Wednesday striking down claims that Iran is behind those drones.
Our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
And some lawmakers in New Jersey are echoing the frustration, calling for a limited state of emergency. They want all drones in that area in the state's airspace banned until the public has some answers here. And as for the calls for the drones to be shot down, the FAA says only law enforcement can take that action against an aircraft. And with drones flying over these populated areas, that can be extremely dangerous to the public, guys. So it's really confounding.
But it really is exactly what I was thinking. Thank you, Ariel.
It's not just in Pennsylvania and in New Jersey, as I said earlier. In fact, last night, I was out at Home Depot with my wife. We were getting light bulbs, and a buddy of mine who lives in New Smyrna, Florida, his name's Richie, said, I see drones outside my house right now. And I said, really? Send me a video. And he sent me the video, and they were there. No doubt. It's also happening in California. Ryan found a video last night, and we're going to play it right now. Now, I want you to look at the way in which the drone looks like a perfect circle. That is exactly what I saw when I was on my balcony looking out and saw that there was what looked like a drone. Play the video.
So if y'all can see, there are drones all over the sky. In Temecula. We came up here to see if we could figure out where they're gonna go. But before they come down, they turn the lights off. So we're gonna go in the morning, maybe, sometime during the day. There's so many. It's like 10. And they're all over the city. And considering how high we up, they can go all the way up here. We saw one a little bit ago, all the way up here, so they can get high. These are not just like cheapy drones. These are real expensive, high-flying drones. I'm so cold. Those are, they get high, dude.
Huge one just sitting there.
Now, you saw right there at the end of that video the circular shape, and that's what I was seeing with my wife as it was just sitting there in the air. Now, with that said, let's start getting a little more serious about this. Let's bring in a video from Fox News where a Congressman Van Drew very boldly and confidently tells Harris Faulkner that there's no question that this is coming from the Iranians. Take a listen.
In focus now, Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, member of the House Judiciary Committee on the Hill right now. How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. You know, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, you know, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine, or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Look, you've given us some pretty dire information just here, and I want to make sure that our viewers are digesting this. Iran has the capability to pull up along our eastern seaboard and launch drones the size of an SUV into the skies of several states, particularly New Jersey, where we know the incoming president has a large home, also in the same county or nearby where some of these drones in New Jersey have been seen.
So one thing about that report that you have to question is they talk about a mothership, an Iranian mothership that's parked off the east coast of the United States. Now, the East Coast is a pretty big description. When you think East Coast, maybe if you're up in New York and New Jersey, that's what you think the East Coast is. Well, Florida is also considered to be the East Coast, okay? So are the Carolinas. So we're talking about a very, very large swath of land. But what about the drones that are being seen in California? You're going to tell me that some ship from an Iranian, from the Iranians is responsible for those drones as well? Or could it be that China is also playing in this game? It is my belief that China and Iran are completely together working this whole thing. Let's not forget that we had a Chinese spy balloon cross the United States from Alaska down in through the Carolinas, and nothing was done at all. It was allowed to float and go right through, untouched. Nobody said a damn thing. We all cried about it for a couple of days, and then it was blown off. And that's the key. See, the Chinese and the Iranians, and I think most of the world realize the fact that we're so hung up on figuring out when it is that the last episode of Yellowstone is going to hit, that we all get so busy with all the things that we're doing that we completely forget about what means the most. And I believe the U.S. government absolutely, definitely, 110% knows who is behind these drones, what it's out there doing, and they are scared endless. And I'll tell you why they're scared endless. There's two different things that come at me with this one. Number one, they're completely denying that they know anything. When the United States completely denies that it doesn't know about drones or anything flying over our airspace, you know they are lying. And so the question becomes, why are they lying? And they're being so quiet about this that it only leaves me to believe that they are scared about what is happening right now. Let's not forget that we have Joe Biden, who's only in the office for another month or so. And then we've got President Trump, who's going to crack down on all these scumbags like nothing you've ever seen before. This is the time for them to do whatever it is that they want to do. Now, there is a part of me that says these drones are suddenly going to go away. You won't hear about them anymore. They got whatever it is that they wanted to get. Maybe it was just sending a scare notice. Who knows? It's sort of like when North Korea launches its missile tests. We know they're doing it just to sort of scare us. Regardless, mark my word, these drones are serious. They are not a joke. They're not some kids playing games. They are serious. And for as long as the United States continues to pretend like we don't know who they are, you should be worried. That is a guarantee. I have watched over the last 20 years this government lie to us about the border and who's coming across the border. I've watched them lie to us about COVID. I've watched them lie to us about the 2020 election. And I am watching them lie to us right now about the drones. And let me go in reverse. If they knew, if they know that if you knew that the election was truly stolen, there would have been riots in the streets. They knew, and they know that if you knew that the vaccine would never work, there would be riots in the streets. Trust me on this. They are concerned about what is happening. Dennis, your take.
There's just this part in my gut that just says it is not Iran that is flying those drones.
Okay.
I just feel that they are a country that, even though Obama started pulling down the regulations, so to say, to make Iran a little bit stronger on their feet than when they previously were before he came in, I just think if they were to get some assistance in flying drones like that can go at those speeds, produce the light emissions, and then turn them off as if they didn't exist, I think, to your point, that's got to be somewhere in the China ballpark as to who's likely behind it.
And this is why I'll disagree with you. Oh, I agree with you and disagree with you. The same thing. It definitely China. But see, a lot of times China's going to do things through proxy.
Right.
Okay. So as far as I'm concerned, Iran is a weak nation, very weak nation, and they are going to rely on the likes of Russia and China to get what it is that they need. And in the same way that Iran carries out its attacks on Israel via proxy, the Chinese are going to ensure that the Iranians are doing this because the Chinese do not want to get into a fight with Donald J. Trump. So they do it through proxy, but there is no doubt in my mind that they are involved. Let's not forget that Iran winds up selling, and it's not supposed to, selling gazillions of gallons of oil into China. China, Iran, and the Russians are in this triangle of hate for the United States of America. The three of them combined, with side notes like North Korea, want nothing more than this country to fall to its knees. We are going to next week, we are going to play a video here that one of our Team DML members posted up on the live chat on teamdml.com about Chinese who are speaking Chinese, working here in the United States, are recruiting for the U.S. Navy, men who are up to 40 years old. The CCP is no doubt entangled in everything we're doing. They have people embedded in this country, and we're more worried about who's going to win season 37 of Survivor.
The secret Chinese police stations that they have cornered throughout the country, or even the fact that they're allowed to own massive land properties in certain states. I know Florida outlawed that under DeSantis, but I think the concern here, right? I mean, we have the Republican congressman claiming it's Iran on a boat off of the coast or East Coast, and yet we're also seeing them pop up on the West Coast because, with the California report, I saw one report with Oregon. So the question becomes, if this is being allowed to happen, why is the Biden administration playing so cowardice and saying that they have no idea what's going on? Some people are suggesting too that this could be our own government, that maybe this is testing from Space Force or the Air Force. But if so, then why wouldn't they just be upfront unless they're doing something nefarious?
I read about that as well. I read about the fact that this could be the United States, more so checking to see whether or not there are any bio-terror attacks or anything of that nature ready to go out, doing their own sort of surveillance. I don't think that's the case. I don't think this is the United States doing that sort of thing. I totally believe this is a foreign adversary.
Do you think, could there then be that connection that for New Jersey, for example, the location of where the drone sightings are pretty close to Bedminster?
Well, you've got Trump's location there at Bedminster, obviously. You've also got some military bases that are in the area.
Right.
Look, the United States has military bases all over the country. So no matter where you go, I can talk about Maine, and you can say, yeah, we have places in Maine. Right. I can talk about Oregon. You can tell
Montana with the balloon.
Absolutely. So we have stuff that's all over the place, rightfully so, as we should. Trump, you can make the argument about it being by his golf course. And then, of course, if he's in Florida, it could be Mar-a-Lago. There's always going to be speculation to that. The question becomes, why haven't we shot one of these down yet? When we had the balloon come across the United States, why didn't we shoot that down? And I can tell you why I think we didn't. For the same reason I just said I'm going to play you a video next week about how it is that the Chinese are now infiltrating our Navy. The Chinese have infiltrated this country. They are operating at every level. They are in the media. They are in U.S. corporations. They are in academia. They are in the government. And they have had this plan for the longest time. We've had our eyes closed. We've had, blinders on, hoping that tomorrow America would just wake up and be there for us. We've let her. America has its pants at its ankles. And my concern is that something will happen to this country before Trump can even get into office. And here's the difference. You want to talk about how important things like X are? The United States government, if they had control over Elon Musk, like they have control over Zuckerberg and Apple and Google owns YouTube, you wouldn't be seeing half of these things. They'd be taken down. You wouldn't have these reports. The reason why you're seeing that report on ABC News, the first one we played, and other ones, is because it's unstoppable at this point. The media has become you, me, the person on the other side of the camera, and places like X are allowing us to become the media. ABC News, think about what ABC News is these days. All these places, what they are. They are reporting things that we're all jamming through the pipeline. In the old days, I could tell you what would have happened. The phone call from the White House would have gone to ABC News and said, hold that story back on those drones. Hold that story back on that spy balloon. Hold that story back about COVID. That's the way it would have been. That's the way it operated. But today, you can't. You can't stop John Q. Public from being the number one news source.
Of course, it's gone to a point where it's unavoidable, because if you had one person with a video camera that caught something and they tried to show it and it wanted to be tapered down, they can do it. But when you got multiple people in multiple states across the country posting it onto X, where it's not going to be shut down, because I did read, to your point, people posting on Facebook were starting to have their posts taken down saying, fake altered video. So when you post it on X and you realize, oh, this isn't fake or altered, like this is people capturing it on the go, you're kind of forcing the others to have to report on it. How can you not?
Yeah, I mean, and there are videos right now that are on X where popping around, everybody's showing drone stuff, and you'll see community notes underneath it saying, hey, this was shot in 1978, or this was shot in 1998, or whatever it may be. Nonetheless, we know for certain there are drones, and we know these drones are out there because the people of the United States now have the access to get them up specifically on X, where these things are allowed to fly, and if it is bullshit, there's a community notes underneath it. Whereas Facebook, like you said, just takes it down. YouTube just takes it down. Think about how many videos there were of credible doctors during COVID who were putting out reports, who were putting out opinions, who were putting out things that they saw in their own clinics about how it is that the vaccine wasn't working and how simple little things like gargling iodine and water could have killed the COVID killed the COVID germ. And what did they do? They stripped that shit down only so this way now we can learn that they were all correct. And this is that there was we have this clip here. It's like the media is finally waking up. They realize that their own funeral is right in front of them. Van Jones, a communist, a piece of garbage as far as I'm concerned, was on a panel that the New York Times held. There were a whole bunch of different, Kellyanne Conway was on it, whatever. We're going to play that video right now. Van Jones explaining to people how the mainstream media is freaking done. Play it.
In the Philly suburbs. And I'm telling you, we are way off. The entire political class is way off. First of all, digital is a new door knocking. Mm-hmm. You got to understand that. We were laughing our butts off at Donald Trump for suspending his door knocking campaign and letting Charlie Kirk and Elon do a bunch of stuff online. Mm-hmm. We said, these guys are idiots. These guys are stupid. Then you start knocking on these doors. You know what people come to the door with? Their phone in their hand. They're in a 24-hour digital surround sound that has nothing to do with CNN, has nothing to do with any stuff that we do. I got a teenage son. I asked him, who are the most influential people in the world today? I'm thinking to myself, he's going to say Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z. He says, Kai Cent, Aiden Ross, Jinxie, and Sketch. I don't know who he's talking about. I said, what platforms are you on? He goes, I'm on Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. I said, that sounds like you need to go to the hospital. What are these platforms? I'm telling you guys, the mainstream has become fringe, and the fringe has become mainstream. There are platforms, there are people out there that are getting 14 million streams, and we're on cable news getting 1 or 2 million. And so there is a whole world out there Kellyanne Conway, I hate to agree with her, but I do a lot of times. Donald Trump understood that and we didn't. And it's not just Democrats that don't. The entire political class is way off, way off, way off.
You know what pisses me off about that is that Van Jones will sit there and call it the fringe, right? The fringe is now the mainstream. No, it's not the fringe. It's the normal. The normal. The people who aren't going to get paid off, the people who aren't going to get benefits of being invited to the powerful cocktail parties. It's the everyday guy who says, hey, I see something. I'm being told that I didn't see what I saw. Bullshit. I'm posting it. And that's why these guys are becoming irrelevant.
As I like those that live in reality, you know, Van Jones and a lot of his type, they just live in a whole different secluded media bubble. And I think that bubble has finally burst since the election, and people are starting to see it. You know, I wanted to tell you about this because I was shocked that the New York Times would do this, but the New York Times admitted a truth yesterday in a very big report. I don't even know if you saw the report. The immigration surge of the past few years has been the largest in U.S. history, surpassing the great immigration boom of the late 1800s and early 1900s based on a New York Times analysis of government data. In fact, it is the largest immigration and U.S. population boom since at least 1850. And according to their analysis, about 60% of immigrants who have entered the country under Joe Biden have done so without legal authorization.
Right. We're going to get to immigration later in the show.
You would never get New York Times making an admission.
No, you never.
That way.
Listen, because it's impossible to hide. It's impossible to hide. And they're all liars. I just don't want to come off as being, we're just going after the left here. I'll tell you right now, I have no problem with this because I know all the scumbags and how they bullshit. Sean Hannity. I can't tell you how many times that guy has had immigration topics on gave me a full hour. I defy you. Anybody, I will give you $500 if you could bring it to me. The first person who brings it to me. Go find one time that Sean Hannity has ever talked about mandatory E-Verify as being a tool to stop immigration from being what it is today. He won't do it. He's completely behind that labor, that cheap labor, as far as I'm concerned. Completely behind it. Sean Hannity called for amnesty after Mitt Romney lost to Barack Obama. He called for amnesty on his radio show. And today he'll play, oh, we need to build the wall. We need to do all this other stuff. He said we'd never win another election if we didn't give amnesty. He's full of shit. You want to know another thing he once did? I couldn't believe what I saw. And this is when I started to realize who he was. And Fox News, the majority, the only person that you can actually count on that's not bullshitting you is Tucker Carlson. Every other single one of them is full of shit. I don't care if it's somebody, and let me say it this way. Every person who I was ever on with at Fox News, notwithstanding Tucker Carlson, is full of shit. Even the ones today who are big are full of shit. It's all a head fake. So let me give you another little thing. Hannity, how many times have you heard him beat the living crap out of CNN? Right? They're all the same. They all want access. How many times? Go Google right now, Getty Images, Don Lemon, and Sean Hannity. How many times have we heard him slam Don Lemon? Why? Because it's great ratings. Then you'll see when they go to a cocktail party together, when it's all the media cocktail party together, he's sitting there taking a selfie with Don Lemon like they're best friends from the beginning of time. What is that? You're going to go on at 9 o'clock at night and tell me how Don Lemon is the worst thing in the world, and then you're going to go sit there sipping cocktails with him? Let me tell you what I would not do. If I went to a party tomorrow night and Hillary Clinton was sitting there, I would be nowhere near her. Same thing as if Joe Biden was there, or Kamala Harris, I wouldn't want to be touching them. I'm on this show every single day talking about how bad they are for America. Can you imagine if I'm taking a selfie with Kamala? After what we've just gone through for the last 6 months of saying how she's so horrible for America, these people are so full of shit, and they're finally getting all called out, and I couldn't be more happier for it. You know, you take a look at the future of media is as scary as it is opportune. It is scary because there are no guardrails, and you can take a video that somebody shot of drones 6 years ago, and pointing it off as if it's happening now, and you're like, oh, wow, it's happening now. If you don't have some guardrails, like the community notes, you're in trouble. But at the same time, the opportunity here to finally be told the truth and hold people accountability, there's nothing ever like it. When I was on Fox News, I remember when I did the whole thing on Fox News, I was doing the Bundys. When I was at the whole Bundy standoff, I was the only guy that was down there. And I was filming, I was seeing how it is that the federal government was executing cattle. And I was told on Fox News, no, don't get that. We don't want to see that. I said, why don't you want to see that? This whole fight between the Bundys and the federal government is about the confiscation of their property. Oh, no, we don't want that. Oh, then you don't want the story, okay? Same thing when I was on Newsmax, I couldn't put people on to interview people who were writing books about the Clintons because he's $1 million donor to the Clinton Foundation. So it wasn't until I went on Facebook, and this is the pre-Trump censoring era, when the left went to Facebook and said, it's because of you that we lost the election because you let people get out messages that we shouldn't have been letting out, and they tried to make it fake news in Russia. Listen, I don't even put Russia dressing on my salads. I don't know anybody from Russia. I don't talk to Russia. I wouldn't listen to Russia. I know what I know because I went around the country and I was talking to people during speeches. I knew what they wanted, and I knew Trump would be a great advocate for that sort of thing. Taking my cell phone and walking around the streets of East Hampton, New York, I wound up gaining millions of followers. Right? So the idea that the media is needed is bullshit. What is needed is truth and honesty. And this is a perfect example of where you got drones flying around and nobody's telling the truth to the American people. You know what? The only way we ever get the truth is if Americans find out what the hell is going on. Because if one of those drones do come down and is shot down, hopefully an American journalist that doesn't work for these mainstream medias, maybe a solo guy or a solo gal gets it, and we could do an analysis, because it's the only way we're ever going to find out what's really going on. Now, with that being said, taking a little shift here, right? The View. How the hell does The View stay in business? I mean, my goodness gracious, it's like the biggest lie fest ever, and I'm surprised Facebook doesn't make them one of their checkers, their fact checkers. Can you imagine that next? Oh yeah, your post has been determined to be false by The View. I mean, you got Bill Clinton on The View right now talking about how it is. We've got Joe Biden making a line. He's going to pardon 1,500, or I should say commute the sentences for 1,500 people. It's the largest pardon ever. And now you've got Democrats lining up, begging for pardons, and they haven't even been committed of a crime yet. So Bill Clinton was on The View talking about this very thing. Let's play that video and get Dennis's comments.
Mr. President, Donald Trump will be returning to the White House, unburdened by the pressure of re-election, with sweeping immunity granted to him, I believe, by the Supreme Court, and an alleged enemies list we're hearing. Do you think it would be wise of President Biden to preemptively pardon any potential targets? What about your wife, Hillary Clinton? She apparently is on Kash Patel's list.
For what?
Yeah.
Well, they got a problem with her because first, she didn't do anything wrong.
Of course.
Second, she followed the rules exactly as they were written.
Mm-hmm.
Third, Trump's State Department found, they remember how the emails were such a big issue in 2016? Yeah. Trump's State Department found that Hillary sent and received exactly 0 classified emails on her personal device. It was a made-up, phony story.
Yeah.
So, I guess if Kash Patel is determined to make one up, he could do it. But I think if President Biden wanted to talk to me about that, I would talk to him about it. But I don't think I should be giving public advice on the pardon power. I think it's a very personal thing. But it is, I hope he won't do that.
Yeah.
Trump, most of us get out of this world ahead of where we'd get if all we got was simple justice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's normally a fool's errand to spend a lot of time trying to get even.
Yeah, agreed. But if he pardons them, that sort of implies that they did something wrong, which they didn't.
So The View, for the last 2 weeks, lost their minds and their collective heads over Matt Gaetz being selected as the AG, Pete Hegseth being selected as Secretary of Defense, and went into rapid discussions about their sexual assault case, alleged sexual assault cases, to the point where they had to read legal notes. In fact, Sonny Hostin had to read 4 in a 1 week span. And then a week later, they're going to have Bill Clinton, of all people, on their show to talk about the virtuousness of his wife, Hillary Clinton, and their marriage and loyalty, clearly. I think it just goes to show that the View are just so vapid and completely self-unaware. I don't even know what the word would be for that.
These women, how many times have these women
awful.
got on there and talked about the rights of women and women being treated the right way? I mean, my goodness, when Trump took office, it was, he's going to steal what it is to be a woman. He's not going to let anybody do this, let anybody do that. Bill Clinton has been accused of rape by countless women. He took a young, vulnerable intern and, as far as I'm concerned, molested her inside the Oval Office, sticking a cigar reportedly in places that you don't stick cigars. Okay, they're supposed to go in your mouth. He went down the other place. Doing that to a young girl like that. They would have this guy on their show and they treat him like he's like this little nice old grandfather.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I love when there are body, the experts who read body movement and this and that. Bill Clinton, you watch that clip the whole time he's talking. And once he starts talking about how it is that Hillary didn't commit any crimes, immediately he folds his arms. Go look up what it means when somebody's folding their arms talking to you. It's not a good thing. Okay. Hillary Clinton did no wrong. Are you kidding me?
The fact that they even went there in that conversation and then, talk about it without like a smile or a laugh is crazy.
Oh my God. And now, the other thing too about Trump, this is the same thing they said about Trump the first time he took office, that he was going to go after everybody. He was going to do this, going to do that, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. He left Hillary Clinton. And you want to know why? Because he said it would be bad optics for a former president's wife to be jailed.
Yes.
All right. He said it himself. But this is all they can do. The media could just only keep on going down the same BS. They just want to make it sound like Trump is this horrible, bad person and the world is going to explode. Meanwhile, we've got drones flying all over this country and nobody's going to nobody's going to Joe Biden and saying, what the hell's going on? And the 1,500 offenders will have their sentences commuted by President Biden as he issues the largest ever number of commutations and clemencies granted in a single day. And I'll tell you what, somebody just said the other day that they're afraid, and I don't know if he could legally do this or not, that he is going to grant a basic pardon to every illegal alien who came into this country illegally.
That'd be insane. That'd be insane to do right before Trump taking office. I was just going to ask you more as like a little prediction. Do you think in these next 4 years we could see The View off the air? I mean, all these programs continue to lose viewership. I feel like The View might be one of the last strongholds in the mainstream media world.
I think what you're going to wind up seeing for these networks to try to stay relevant, they're going to have to go away from their model as they have it now. And look, Van Jones said it. You could get a guy. Let me use myself. Okay, let me use myself. When I used to be on Megyn Kelly, right? Megyn Kelly was the #1 show on Fox News, 9 o'clock prime time. I would be on by herself. She never had me on panels. It was usually Megyn and I. I know I had 3.5 million people listening to my every single word. When I left that and I left Newsmax and I went to Facebook before they started censoring people, especially Trump people, and I would go do a Facebook walk and talk, I would literally come back with 10 to 20 million views on a video. You ask me what I want. Megyn Kelly's 3.5 million people for 3 minutes, or a walk and talk where somebody's listening to me for 30 minutes, 10 million, 15 million people, and I can do them whenever I want. I don't got to hope if Megan's going to put me on or not. The future is going to be what's happening on X. It really is. Cable television, all these other different television networks, they're going to be gone. X is going to wind up becoming the Netflix. That's where it's going to be. Netflix, Amazon, all these places. That's going to be where distribution is. And all these channels, the cable TV, I would short those stocks. They don't have a way out of this. They're cornered. ABC News. Look at this. It probably, Good Morning America, I bet you Good Morning America probably takes $50 million easily to produce all year long. I could wind up getting more views on Facebook if they weren't doing the censoring with my 1.5 million people following than they could. Eventually on X, same thing. We get to 1 million, 2 million. Look at some of the people right now that have big followings. Tucker Carlson, it's got probably 10 million people or more following him on X. He can take his cell phone and produce a video for zero and reach more people than there is on ABC News. You know what I mean? So the future is these places are going to be gone. But I'll tell you what I think you're going to see. You're going to see more people kissing ass to Trump. Prime example, Mark Zuckerberg last night donated $1 million to the Trump inaugural fund.
Yes.
Which everybody's like, oh my God, look at that. Yeah, because he's trying to save his own ass. Meanwhile, let's not forget, he donated hundreds of millions of dollars to make sure Biden got in office. But he's going to give $1 million to the inaugural fund. But it's his way of trying to kiss ass to Trump. They're all circling around Trump right now.
Well, then here's the question. Would we rather them get in line or continue to pose opposition even when he comes into office?
Dude, I'll tell you right now, and make sure we put this clip on Facebook later on. My lawyer just yesterday, I finally said after 10 years, do it. My lawyer yesterday sent a 9-page letter to Facebook that says, be on notice. You have censored my guy. You have demonetized my guy. You have defamed my guy because he is a Trump-supporting conservative. And if you don't change your ways, you're going to wind up being in federal court. Just sent yesterday. I can't wait. I didn't even tell you this. I can't wait. I worked on this with him for weeks. 9 pages. Every single thing. We took screenshots, the whole thing.
Wow.
These fuckers are going down. I'm telling you right now, the American people who have video cameras and X, they are going to be the new, I would short Facebook stock. It is going to wind up going down. 10 years from now, 5 years from now, Facebook's going to be freaking the thing of the past. You watch my word. Unless they all change their ways, and I think that his sins are too great. I don't think you'll ever see people say, oh, I'll go back to Facebook. Okay, I'll go back to Facebook. No, fuck you. You did what you did. You tried to destroy us all. And because Trump survived, that's why you're coming back to save your own ass. Shove it up your ass.
And you know what? He really should be ashamed of himself because there was a point where Facebook really was on the rise before Twitter, before Snapchat, before all the social medias. Remember? Like,
Absolutely.
That era where you had MySpace, it kind of fizzled out. And then he came with Facebook and it had like a good 5 to 6 year span where like it was the place to be, you know? And he ruined that because even though it's prevalent now in the sense where it's still around with the other social medias, it's not the top dog. X is now the top dog.
Listen, Facebook to this day is still, it's like Fox News. You look at Fox News, it's still dominating the airwaves on cable TV. You want to know why? Because their demographic is between 55 and 90 years old. So the 55-year-old who's been watching Fox News for the last 10 years isn't going anywhere. They're going to hang around. But in the next 10, 15 years, as that crowd starts to totally dissipate and has no choice but to go online, when grandma and grandpa start knowing how to use an iPhone just as well as you do, they're done. And everything is going to wind up switching back to the X's of the world. And Facebook, the majority of Facebook's lion's share are these older people. I get it all the time. They say it to me all the time. I'm like, come on over to X. And the older people say, I don't understand it. I don't really know how to use it. You do. The problem is that you don't know how to get your mind off of the feed that you're used to and going over to something else. I watch it with your mother. Your mother, when I first put her on Twitter a couple weeks ago, she's like, I don't know how to use this. I don't like this. I said, stick with it. Believe me, I can't get your mother off Twitter. She's on Twitter. She's sending us shit all day long.
There is a ongoing years-long joke about Twitter. You download it, you try to understand it for a few days, you don't get around to it, you leave it for 2 weeks, you come back, you're hooked.
You're hooked. And
that's what happened to me.
And I hate saying Twitter because it's so disrespectful. X. We got to get into X. Now, that being said, when we talk about the next 4 years, let me tell you who's going to position himself. We talked about this the other day. And one of the things that we've been doing as a family is talking about what we're going to be doing for the next few years, because it's a very opportune and scary time. And one of the things I want to do is I want to own this topic of Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is going to be the future of the Democrat Party. Trust me when I tell you, he's Barack Obama with blonde hair. That's exactly what he is. He's going to look to be the king. So we're going to, every time we get a chance to show you who Gavin Newsom is, we're going to take it. Ryan right now is going to play a video while I speak. This shows Gavin's $150 billion speed train going through Gavin Newsom's $100 million I'm going to fix homeless problem. Look at this. The train can't even go because there are homeless tents all over the tracks. This is Gavin Newsom. Now, if that was Donald J. Trump's idea, that would be on the news every single day. You know where I guarantee you're never going to see that video? You're not going to see that on Good Morning America. You're not going to see it on NBC Nightline. You're not going to see it on anything. If they play it, they'll play it for 10 seconds, and that's it. We're going to play this all the time. Gavin Newsom is a train wreck, no pun and all pun intended at the same time.
Tell you, we might need like a sub-campaign slogan, like "Make California Normal Again."
It's impossible.
It's a shame. That should be our golden state, literally, and it is.
I tell you right now, I know we have some good people in California who listen to us every single day.
Yes.
What I would tell you is pack your bags, get the hell out, move to Texas, sell your house now for an overblown price. You'll probably sell it to some person from China who wants to take over California. We need to get Elon Musk to take his new drilling company, the boring company, and he needs to make a big, huge line around all of California and just push it out to sea and let it become its own country. I want nothing to do with California. It's done. It's gone. It's never repaired. You're never repairing California.
Just bringing that up with Musk and Boring Company, you know, if he really is about to get the shackles off the toy box of what he can do for the next few years, he was just tweeting about how they can make a boring tunnel train line from New York to London, and that it'd be able to be accomplished in like an hour time in terms of travel length, which I mean, I can't even fathom such a travel method. But
I hope that man lives to he's 150 because the world needs him big time. Now, the world also needs another guy, and that's Donald J. Trump. Here's a prime example of how all these people like Zuckerberg, Chris Cuomo, I'll even say it, Megyn Kelly, they're all coming around. They think Trump's the cat's meow. These people couldn't stand this freaking guy. They couldn't stand him. They hated him. We would call him out for things like, hey, man, you said you were going to kill DACA, and you didn't. But they said he was everything bad, you name it. Time? How many pictures have you seen of Donald J. Trump put on Time magazine and these other magazines where he looks like he's sick, ill, fat, demented, hair messed up, everything. Now look at him. They got him the person of the year, and they got him looking dapper. They got him looking
presidential.
Nice. You're presidential because you know what they're not going to do? I can't believe how many times I'm cursing today. They're not going to fuck with him because if they fuck with him, he's going to crack down on their ass. That's what they're afraid of. That's what they're afraid of. They've made this guy out to that he's going to crack down on everybody. When did you ever see Trump in his first 4 years crack down on anybody? All he did was make the country a success. It's going to be the same thing. He's going to make sure that there's going to be no bullshit, and at the same time, he's going to fix this country. And look at Time. You know what that is right there? That is an ass-kissing picture on the front. Does he deserve to be the man of the year? Abso-fucking-lutely. There's nobody else who could even match him. But you tell me right now, look at that. Look at that picture. There was somebody at Time magazine. It'd probably the funniest thing. It'd probably be a great X video. You know, these X videos where, you know, libs of TikTok and everything show these lefties going all crazy. I'm telling you, people in the office, when they were picking this picture, they were having fucking convulsions, man. They were fucking like this. Oh my God, I can't believe we're putting this on Time magazine. Oh, I got to quit.
Well, there were rumors that originally the candidate was going to be Kamala.
Yeah, fuck Kamala. She ain't going on there. Woman of the year. Are you kidding me? Listen to me. There are people right now who have emotional support dogs. They've got consultants coming in. They got doctors coming in, taking people's pulses at Time magazine because the whole staff is going crazy that they had to do that. They're melting, but they're so afraid. All these Democrats are so afraid that he's going to go after them. They're all begging Biden, please, 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 give me something. Make it so he can't come after me. He's not going to go after one of them. He's just going to make sure that these agencies that have lost their way go back on track. I guarantee you that's the way it's going to be. They're not going to go after people. They're just not going to do it.
Did you It was right before the show today, but did you see him ringing in the bell at the New York Stock Exchange?
As he should.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something.
It's the first time since Ronald Reagan that a president has...
As he should. Because if you've got money in stocks right now, I'm telling you, it's going to take 12 months. For him to fix the shit that Biden did to this country, it's going to take 12 months. 12 months from now, you watch. Interest rates are going to be low. He just made it 15%. He just put out 15% tax rate for manufacturers. That's what he's going to do. Do you know about the manufacturing in this country? That's why China's probably got drones all over the place. They're scared shitless. The days of them manufacturing our stuff, the days of you turning things over in your house and says made in China, fuck it. It's gone. We're going all America. It's America, America, America. We're going to go back to making all the things that we used to make. We don't need China. We don't need these people. Go fuck themselves. We need to go back to America. That's what it is. That's what he stands for. And that's why half these people are shitting their pants. They're all shitting their pants. We got the Navy right now. We got people speaking Chinese, recruiting for Chinese for our Navy. Fuck that. When he finds out about this, it's going to stop. It's going to stop. I'm telling you, this country is going to be reversed and it's going to be back like in the 1950s when it was beautiful. Frank Sinatra was singing and everybody could go outside and borrow shit from your neighbor without having to worry about being killed.
It'll be really telling after January 20th if we still have those drone sightings the way we have them now.
Those drones, I'm telling you, a week from now, you won't see them. They'll be gone. They're going to be quiet. Nobody's going to talk about it. 2 weeks from now, nobody's going to say a damn thing. Trust me when I tell you, whatever they're trying to accomplish, they've either accomplished, and maybe they're just looking to accomplish a scare, just to get America scared, just to send a warning like, hey, by the way, and look, this warning can be there. I'll give you a warning that once happened, then we got to get off because Ryan's got to go. I'll give you something that happened a long time ago. And we had this in They Come to America 4. You may recall doing this when we were in California shooting the movie. There was in Northern California a power plant. And there were a bunch of guys who took AR-15s and tried to shoot up the power plant, try to hit the transformers. They didn't hit the transformers, believe it or not. It's like, hey, how did you not hit them? The media went on this whole thing that it was a bunch of local yahoos who got drunk who tried shooting up the nuclear power plant. Bullshit. It turned out to be that it wound up being Hezbollah that came across the border, went up to this, and either A, sent the message of, you better cut the shit or else this is what we're going to do, or B, was sending a message saying, hey, by the way, if we want to take you out, we'll take you out. That was it. We were told by that top guy at the Border Patrol that that was it. So trust me when I tell you, that is a signal. That is a sign to the United States. Hey, you better stop fucking around because if you keep on doing it, guess what's going to happen? We're going to have our drones here and we're going to start taking shit out. That is a message being sent. So trust me when I tell you, these things are going to go away and everybody's going to go back to thinking about who's going to win the Super Bowl. But Trump, I'll tell you why you know this is a serious fucking thing. You want to know why it's a serious thing? Who hasn't tweeted or who hasn't put out a thing on Truth Social about the drones yet?
Trump hasn't.
Guess why? Because he gets a security briefing every single day as president-elect, and he can't say what he knows. Trust me when I tell you. Okay? That's it. We had a clip on immigration. We're not going to play it today. We're going to save it. We'll save it for on Monday because it's timeless. And we'll talk about it then. Plus, Ryan's got to go. And so do we. Thank you for joining us today. We have a great special right now at dmlcbd.com/pet. We kept it for a third day, I think, for $10. And then today we also have a buy one, get one free for the face serum. It's a 1 day only. dmlcbd.com/face. If you want to look young, you want to look great like every person that you look at and you say, wow, why don't I look that young? Well, they're probably using DMLCBD. Face serum. dmlcbd.com/face. Buy one, get one free. And then, of course, for the little doggies and the pets, dmlcbd.com/pets. Go there and pet, singular, pet, P-E-T. Go there. It's $10 bottles. We usually sell them for $40. It's my way of saying Christmas. And right here, this is what they look like. Right there. All right. In fact, I just started giving it to Summer again last night. Oh my God, she slept like a baby. Whew. What a show. How many times I cursed today? What's the under over?
I think 12 at least. 12 F-bombs.
Under 10?
Oh, you said under 10. I don't know. You
I
started
think
to
I
drop
went
a
more.
lot towards the end.
They went more. All right. You know what? Those people who are too prude, you'll get over it. It stops tomorrow. Till next time, may God bless you. The people who are trying to film the drones, the United States, and Donald J. Trump for winning president, person, everything for the year.
And today's team email blessing goes out to Deborah Shalot.
All right, Deb, run with it.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML.